Hey everybody, today I'd like to talk about Endurance Scout Digital's web design platform that we've built specifically for endurance events. A strong web presence should be the backbone of any endurance event's marketing and growth plan because it allows athletes to both discover and learn about a race. This is really important in today's crowded marketplace as you really need a strong web presence to stand out from your competitors. So we recently ran a study here in Washington State where we're based where we looked at just over 1,000 races. The results were honestly a bit disconcerting. Almost a quarter of races didn't actually have their own race website. Instead, they relied on Facebook, Active.com, or Race Signup, or a similar race registration company as their only web presence. This is really hurting them because they're missing out on the opportunity of all of the athletes searching on Google for races local to them. Building your own race website is absolutely critical to capturing that web traffic. Similarly, 2/3 of the race websites were full of 404 errors or were lacking all of the information that an athlete might want. Internally, we've created a list of over 45 different data points that every race should be displaying on their race website. This is information about swag and parking and post-race activities, on-course nutrition, the route, all sorts of things that an athlete really wants to know before they register for an event. So for 2/3 of race websites to not have all of that information is really, really scary. Most of the race websites were not optimized for mobile devices. I'm sure that you've had the frustrating experience of visiting a website on your phone where you had to pinch and zoom to be able to read the text, or there was text off the side of the screen so you constantly had to flip back and forth to be able to read all of the text. This is really hurting race websites that aren't built for mobile for two reasons. Number one, it's going to scare the athletes who are visiting the site away. They don't want to deal with it. And number two, it's actually hurting their results in Google. So as of 2018, well over half of the search queries ran on Google are done so via a mobile device. So they have in turn started penalizing websites that aren't built for mobile. Another frustrating thing that we kept running across was a really confusing menu structure. Oftentimes the information that we were searching for as athletes wasn't actually in the same section of the website based on the menu header that we'd be expecting. So for instance, parking information would be completely out of place when we'd expect it to be available in the race details section of a website. The last major issue that we had was that very few websites did a great job of actually conveying what was special about a race. Instead, they were really text heavy, kind of out of like the late 1990s, the Web 1.0 era. They didn't have a flair and didn't tell a story about what made a race so special. As the space continues to become more and more crowded with more and more races popping up, it's becoming increasingly important for races to have a unique website that actually stands out and tells the story of their race. So now that we've critiqued all of these race websites, let's actually flip the script and start focusing on what makes a good race website. We've boiled it down into three major categories that every race needs to be checking when building their own race website. Number one is design. So this is not only does it look attractive to a user, but is it laid out in a way that the user or the athlete can find all of the race information that they want and that all of the different pieces of data actually exist on the race's website. Number two is the technical SEO portion of things. So this is going to be things like having a valid SSL certificate or keeping your meta headers under 55 characters or each page description under 155 characters. We've created a separate video that talks about all of these and how to appease Google and the SEO gods with your race website. But there's a whole list of things that you should be checking off to make sure that your website is up to snuff in terms of SEO. And then last is sort of the flair and the content. Are you putting in good content into a race so that it actually stands out from its competitors? Or is it just checking the minimalist box of it has the information that an athlete needs and that's all we're going to put on there? Obviously, we advocate that the more that you can show off your individual race's personality, whether that be through photography or videos or through copy, the better. It's always great to be showing off what makes you stand out. So we've worked really hard at Endurance Scout Digital to build a platform that makes it easy for race directors to build great race websites. We understand that you're not a web developer, and that's okay. I honestly don't want a lot of web developers to be managing the races that I'm competing at. So we take a lot of the work off the race director's plate by automatically handling all of the design and the technical SEO work. And then on top of that, we work one-on-one with each race director to ensure that all of the data and the content posted to a website is correct and shows the race in the best light possible. We're really here to help drive registrations for the races that we work with.